Assalamu alaikum, our dear students. Welcome to a new lesson for our school, Qatar Technical School. This is an English lesson for grade 10 using Technical English Book 1. The title of today's lesson is Cooling System 1. As usual, let's have a look at the objectives of today's lesson, what we need to achieve at the end of this lesson. By the end of this lesson, we will have done listening for details. We will listen and extract some information from an audio. And we will also read for details. We will do the same thing, but with a reading text. Please open the course book page 40 so that you can follow the lesson. Okay, our first exercise today is a quiz. We need to try this quiz and choose the correct answer. The question is, what are the normal or average temperatures for these? Okay, so let's look at number 1, water from a shower. What is the average temperature for water from a shower? We have two options, A and B. And A has two types of temperature, 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit. B, 80 degrees Celsius, which means 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 2, food in a refrigerator. Is it 4.5 Fahrenheit, which means minus 15 degrees Celsius, or B, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which means 4.5 degrees Celsius. Number 3, food in a freezer. What is the temperature or average temperature of food in a freezer? Is it 0 degrees Celsius, which means 32 degrees Fahrenheit, or B, minus 18 degrees Celsius, which means 0 Fahrenheit. Number 4, what is the coldest air temperature ever? Is it minus 89 degrees Celsius, which means minus 128 degrees Fahrenheit, or B, minus 20 degrees Celsius, which means minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 5, the hottest air temperature ever. Is it 156 degrees Fahrenheit, which means 70 degrees Celsius, or 136 degrees Fahrenheit, which means 58 degrees Celsius? And finally, what is the temperature of water in running car engine? Is it 110 degrees Celsius, which means 230 degrees Fahrenheit, or 45 degrees Celsius, which means 110 degrees Fahrenheit? You should choose an answer for each one of these. Try to guess if you don't know the answer. Then we will listen and check the answers. Now let's listen to check the answers.
Unit 5. Recording 30. 1. Turn down that thermostat, please. The water's too hot for a shower. The correct temperature is about 60 degrees.
Fahrenheit.
No, Celsius, of course.
Okay, so now let's check the answer for number 1. It should be A. Very good. Now let's check number 2.
2.
This refrigerator is too cold. Turn the temperature up to about 4.5 degrees.
Fahrenheit?
No, that's too cold. 4.5 degrees Celsius.
And the answer for number 2 is B. Very good. Now let's listen and answer from 3 to 6, then After that, we will check them together.
Three. That freezer's too warm. Turn the temperature down to 0 degrees.
0 degrees Celsius?
No, that's too warm. 0 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the same as minus 18 degrees Celsius.
4. Do you know the record for the coldest air temperature in the world?
No.
It's minus 89 degrees.
Fahrenheit?
No, Celsius.
Where is it?
In Antarctica. 5. And the hottest temperature in the world, do you know that?
No.
It's 136 degrees.
Celsius?
No, Fahrenheit.
Where is it?
In Libya.
6. The car engine is too hot.
Why? What's the correct temperature?
About 110 degrees.
Is that Fahrenheit?
No, Celsius.
Okay, now after listening, let's check the answers. What is the answer for number 3? Excellent, it's B. What about 4? Yes, it's A. 5. B. And finally 6. It's A. Very good. Okay, now let's learn a few important words for today's lesson. Look at the pictures. What is this? This is a hose. Hose. And the hose is a long tube made of rubber, plastic, etc., used for putting water onto fires, gardens, and so on. The next word. What is this? You see it in a car or in a boat. It's an engine. An engine. Next, you see this part in a car, and it is a device for cooling the engine of a vehicle or an aircraft, and it's called a radiator. Radiator. What can we see here? And here we see 73 degrees and we see 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And in the second picture, we see someone controlling the temperature. Someone who is trying to control the temperature. So this is a device that measures and controls the temperature of a machine or a room. And we call this a thermostat. Thermostat. Okay, now after we have achieved our first objective, which was listening for details, now let's move to reading for details. Exercise 3 is a reading. Label the diagram with the words in the box. Okay, we need to look at this diagram, and this is a diagram that shows the cooling system in a car. Okay, what we need to do is to look at the picture, try to understand the system. We have number 1, engine. We have number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we see some arrows. Some of them are blue, some of them are red. And we remember that we studied that the blue color means cold, the red color means hot. Let's go back to the list of the words. We have bottom hose, engine, radiator, thermostat, top hose, and water pump. I'll give you 2 minutes to try to guess the pictures. Okay, the label, to try to label the picture. Okay, you can pause the video and then come back to check the answers. Okay, now let's check the answers together. Number 2 is thermostat. Thermostat. Number three, top hose. 4, radiator. 5, bottom hose. And 6, of course, is the water pump. Okay, now what we need to do is to read the text to check our answers. Okay, car cooling system. The engine drives the water pump and the pump pushes cool water around the engine. This cools the engine. At the same time, the water becomes hot. The water in a hot engine is normally about 110 degrees Celsius. The hot water then passes through the thermostat. This controls the temperature of the engine. From the thermostat, it flows through the top hose into the radiator. Here, a fan cools the water, and the cool water sinks to the bottom of the radiator. The cool water then leaves the radiator. It flows along the bottom hose, passes through the pump, and enters the engine again. Okay, so from this we understand that our answers were correct. Now let's move to number 5, and we did something like this before. Which words in the text do these words refer to? For example, the word this, number 1, this in line 6, we have 3 options, refers to hot water, thermostat, or temperature. If we go back to line 6, we see this. Let's read the sentence before, which is in line 5. The hot water then passes through the thermostat. This controls the temperature, so this refers to thermostat. We have the word it in line 7, here in line 8, and it in line 10. Okay, now let's look at it in line 7. We have engine, thermostat, or water. The correct answer is C, water. Number 3, here in line 8. Very good. Top hose, radiator or fan. Radiator. And number 4, it in line 10 refers to water, radiator, or bottom hose. It refers to water. Very good. Okay, now we need to make sentences using the 3 columns. We have 8 words or phrases on the left, 8 verbs in the middle, and 8 phrases on the right. I'll give you 5 minutes. Try to read these sentences or phrases and make sentences, then come back to check the answers. Please pause the video for 5 minutes. Okay, now let's check the answers. Number 1, the water pump pushes water around the engine. Number 2, the thermostat controls the temperature of the water. Number 3, the 2 hoses connect the radiator to the engine. We noticed that in number 1 and 2, we added an S to the verb. We said pushes, ES. Here we added ES. Controls, but in number 3, we didn't add an S. This is because in number 1, we're talking about a pump, singular. Number 2, thermostat, singular. But in number 3, we're talking about hoses, which is plural. Number 4, the radiator cools the hot water from the engine. Number 5, the fan blades blow air onto the radiator. Number 6, cool water sinks to the bottom of the radiator. Number 7, hot water rises to the top of the engine. And finally, water flows through the 2 hoses. Now we have done the second objective, which was reading for details. Please don't forget to study what we did in this lesson very well, especially the sentences at the end. Don't forget to go to the Teams after watching the video and do the homework. You will have 24 hours to do the homework. We wish you all good luck. See you later.